When you're dealing with a covert or vulnerable narcissist, the analogy of death by 1,000 paper cuts is just so on point. Because individually, those little cuts, they sting, but you can easily be convinced that it's not a big deal. This is how covert manipulation works. And in this video, I'm going to break down 5 covert manipulation tactics to look out for. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Common Ego community. My name is Christina, and on this channel, we talk about emotional abuse, narcissism, and self-development. Today, we're talking about covert manipulation tactics. Now, these are tactics that are not one-off things. So if somebody does any one of these things to you just once, I wouldn't consider it a manipulation tactic per se. It's definitely not going to have the same effect on you as it would if you were with somebody who was manipulating you consistently. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video is because I feel like this is a reason why people end up staying in relationships that are not good for them. What I'm talking about here is being able to recognize abuse for what it is. And when it's covert, it can be really, really difficult to recognize it as abuse. So one misconception that I used to have was that emotional abuse and verbal abuse are the same thing. And there are some slight differences. So if somebody is verbally abusing you, it's probably going to be pretty obvious. They might be putting you down. They might be outright telling you that you're not good enough. But covert tactics are a little bit more devious, and they're definitely harder to spot. So we're not talking about like an off-the-cuff comment that hurts somebody's feelings, and it's just a one-off thing. Everybody can have a bad day, and sometimes we don't always say or do the right things. These are tactics that are used consistently throughout our relationship, any type of relationship, that are meant to devalue and or control another person. Another thing that is so devious about these covert manipulation tactics is that much like the paper cut, they can sting, but the person doing it, the person who's using these tactics, usually has some level of plausible deniability. So they can either say, oh, I didn't mean it that way, or they can say, you're overreacting, kind of like it's just a paper cut, get over it. But the problem is that it's not just one. These little cuts are eating away at your sense of self and your self-esteem and your self-worth over time. And the longer you stay with somebody who's doing this, the more damage it will do. If you're in something and you're seeing some of the signs of a toxic relationship, I have a free download that can give you some more information on that and help you kind of figure out if this might be a healthy relationship or one that might be a bit more damaging. So check out that download in the description box below. Now we're going to jump into the 5 covert manipulation tactics that you will often see used by a covert or vulnerable narcissist. Now, they're not the only ones who use these tactics, and you may also see overt or grandiose narcissists using the same tactics. These are not exclusive to anyone, but they are damaging. So it's really important for you to be able to recognize when this is happening in your own life and to recognize it for what it is, abuse. So the first covert manipulation tactic is guilt tripping. And this is often used by narcissistic parents. And I would say, to break it down even further, probably more narcissistic mothers. Just imagine the mother who guilts you into calling every day, or calls you up to tell you that something happened and you would have known about it if only you picked up the phone to call your mother. Now, again, when this is covert manipulation, it's not a one-off thing and it's not done as a joke. This person is serious and they want you to feel bad about yourself. Guilt tripping happens in all kinds of relationships, especially relationships with narcissists. Now, a narcissist may guilt you into doing any number of things. A narcissist may guilt you into going to a party or doing all the housework for them. And one form that this guilt tripping usually takes is, if you loved me, you'd do this thing. So the second covert manipulation tactic is the silent treatment. When someone employs the silent treatment, they essentially stop talking to you, they shut you out. And they do this to let you know that they're not happy with you. Usually when somebody's giving you the silent treatment, they don't tell you what you did wrong before they go into silent mode. So it's up to you to figure out why they're upset. 100% of the time, if you want to have a productive conversation about something that is bothering you, you should probably talk about the thing that's bothering you. So another covert manipulation tactic is playing the victim. And this kind of goes hand in hand with guilt tripping. It's also related to reactive abuse. Because when a narcissist is being covertly abusive, they will absolutely play the victim when you get angry. The fifth covert manipulation tactic is called triangulation, and it's essentially pitting people against you. So this happens a lot in the smear campaign. And in the smear campaign, usually that is after you've already either been discarded or ended the relationship with the narcissist. But triangulation does happen within the relationship too. So somebody can triangulate you against other people by telling you what other people said about you, whether it's true or not, and by implying that, this other person doesn't like you. They never said anything, but I can just tell. Triangulation is about planting the seed that you are alone, that people are against you, and or you're not enough. And the fifth covert manipulation tactic that we're discussing today is gaslighting. And gaslighting is a covert manipulation tactic. It's probably one of the best known, but most misunderstood tactics out there. Malicious gaslighting is so insidious, and it works because it happens slowly over time in small phases. It really is like that paper cut that you're just getting over and over and over. And now imagine somebody cut you with a paper and blamed it on you. And every time it happened, the same thing happened over and over again. That's kind of like what happens with gaslighting. There are these tiny little, almost like jabs, that get you to question yourself, get you to doubt yourself. And what this does over time is it really weakens you. And so you don't feel strong enough to stand up for yourself. You don't feel strong enough to even make decisions for yourself half the time. And gaslighting is the tactic that kind of ties them all together. Because when someone is using covert manipulation tactics, they are also going to be convincing you that either it's your fault or you're too sensitive, you're overreacting, there's something wrong with you, and that's why you feel this way. That's why you feel like you don't have any self-esteem anymore, or your self-worth is in the toilet. It's all your fault. Don't blame me for that. It's all you. And furthermore, all this stuff that you're complaining about, half of it didn't even happen. In this way, narcissists rewrite history, and they get you to buy in to their version, at least enough to doubt your own. So if you've recognized any of these covert manipulation tactics, I'm going to link to a video where I talk more about how the narcissist rewrites history. And I'm going to put that video right over here. And as always, if you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe. These things do help the video and the channel. And I'll see you next time.